So Aliyah Boston might be the most likable player, other than maybe Kate Martin in the WNBA. You can see by the way the votes are, and I genuinely think that she is a great second teammate to Caitlin Clark. She's a great running mate for Caitlin Clark, and I think the two of those are going to be an unbelievable combination for years to come. But today she went on Twitter and was answering some questions about the team, about the fever, about Caitlin Clark, and we're going to be listening or looking at some of the answers here. Before we get on to, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are 49 subscribers off 17k. If we could hit that by the end of the day, that would be absolutely incredible. So, first question. Legend here on X has it that Zubilation helped this team solidify chemistry. Is there any truth to that? What was your favorite part of Zubilation? I mean, I'm not going to lie. They went to Zubilation and won 4 games in a row. So, that is, I will say, that was whether it was the reason or not, I mean, they did win right after Zubilation. It says, you guys have been running with that, so we will too. It was great just to spend times and see the animals. Oh, I wish she gave a bit of a different answer to that, but that is, I don't mind that answer. I don't mind that answer at all. I wish she had just bought into the hype. It would have been the best promo for Zubilation ever. Next up, with how much attention Caitlin and this year's draft class have brought to the Fever and the WNBA in general, does it add more pressure on players to perform well, or add more to the full fuel to the tank? I'm guessing, no more people are tuning in. She said, "I don't think it's added pressure. We are used to playing with eyes on us in college, so it doesn't change because we are in the W." I agree with that, and it's actually probably the perfect answer in this scenario. But I think it definitely does change. It does change this season compared to last season because there's not as many eyes on you. You're not expected to win. Winning 13 games last year was actually seen as a positive for this Indiana Fever team. Whereas if they win 13 games this year, not that it would be seen as the biggest negative in the world because a lot of teams around them got better. You have to look at how bad the Mercury were last year. And if the Wings can get to within 3 games of the playoffs, I think post Olympics they're probably going to do it. Either way, I think there is added pressure, but at the same time, I think especially in the last 10 games, Aliyah Boston has dealt with it extremely well. Simple question: how comfortable do you feel now in the pocket/short roll? Feels like you're slowing down the game and making better reads out of it recently. I feel very comfortable with it. I think with each game and depending on how they rotate over it, that's how I make my reads. And yeah, I think Aliyah Boston's gotten a lot better at that. At the start of the year, she was she wasn't even short rolling. She was just kind of drifting to nowhere. I think that was probably the best way to describe it, is that she would screen and drift to nowhere. And she wasn't getting herself free. She wasn't connecting on the screen. She wasn't getting Caitlin free. And I do think Caitlin Clark looking for her in the short roll, you can see it that she's now facing up and kind of driving to the basket because I don't think her back to the basket game is the greatest, but her touch around the basket's good, and she's starting to look without question like an all-star the last year or so, or not the last year, the last month or so. So yeah, good question, good answer. Obviously some of the questions have nothing to do with basketball. Then do you and Cece have the best pick and roll currently in the WNBA? Now, that is a real interesting question. Oh. I think it's probably a yeah. There's not a lot of teams that run a heavy pick and roll. You've got poppers. You've got good players. I don't think you've really got teams that are super heavy in the pick and roll. So I think you can make that argument. Says, I don't know if it's best in the league, but I know we continue to work on it to get it there. Feel like we'll get this play in the playoffs too. I'll admit it, I was really, really worried about the combo, but you can see both of them there's give and take with these two players now. Aliyah Boston is okay not getting her back to the basket post touches every possession, and Caitlin Clark is not shooting the ball as much, and she's looking to facilitate more than she is to shoot, which is completely fine as long as the team are playing well. the end of the day, that is the most important thing. And it is that the team is playing well. And this is why I hate the whole Caitlin Clark needs to shoot 25 shots a game. And it's like, well, no, if Caitlin Clark shooting 8 points a game is going to win you games, Caitlin Clark, go shoot 8 points a game. But I will say, Caitlin Clark, if you're taking the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands, that's when the team looks bad. It's nothing to do with her shooting. Just let her make the decisions, because she makes better decisions than most players. Then there was one answer. I genuinely, maybe I could be misremembering, but I could have swore she asked the question. I couldn't find it. And it was about, I think it was something about the pick and roll. And it was like, she basically just said, well, yeah, I just roll to the basket and Caitlin finds me when I'm open. It makes shots easier. I just cannot find it. I tried to find it for this video and I couldn't find it. I could be completely wrong. Maybe that wasn't something this question. Maybe it's something she said in another quote. Maybe I'm just making it up, but I just could have swore I remember that. And then, if you had to choose any crowd you played in front of this season, your favorite, what would you pick? It's hard because honestly, even at away games, a lot of Fever fans, but recently Phoenix felt like another home crowd. That was the best away crowd I've ever seen for a player. Like, they genuinely waited and gave Caitlin Clark a standing ovation walking off the floor. This is Diana Taurasi's team. This is a team that Diana Taurasi has played for 22 years. This is a team that Brittany Griner has played for what was she drafted, 2013? This is her 12th season? Her 12th season? Brittany Griner has played for this team? This is a team that has Kat Copper. This is a team that has Natasha Cloud. And they all were cheering for Caitlin Clark. They all gave her a standing ovation. So that was one of the wildest situations I think that I had ever seen, just in a basketball game in general. But yeah, that is obviously that is it from Aliyah Boston. There were definitely some other questions, but a lot of them just weren't fully related to basketball. But either way, it was good to see Aliyah Boston back on social media. Good to see the absolute idiots that were going at her. And like, I think there's fair criticism and there's unfair criticism. Like, I think a fair criticism of Aliyah Boston was that she was bad to start the year. I think a fair criticism of Aliyah Boston was that she probably didn't show up, whether or not it was being in shape, but she didn't show up match sharp. Whereas a lot of players did show up with a level of sharpness that she didn't reach. But over the last 10 games, you could see, yeah, Aliyah Boston, this is what people expected. This is an all-star level player. And congratulations to Aliyah Boston on her second all-star performance. With the way the season started, I was thinking there was no chance of it happening. But over the last 10 games, there aren't that many WNBA players that have been better than her, to be honest, especially at that position. So that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.